Common sense isn't gone. It just needs a comeback. Common Sense Superheroes with David and Greg.
School's out for summer. School is out for summer. I remember the excitement I had. This is your host, David, of the Common Sense Superheroes podcast, episode 35. And across from me is the bearded one, Mr. Gregory Miller. Greg, we'll get to school being out, but we got to start number 35. You got a number 35 in mind?
Actually, I have a couple. All times I got to go the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas, and then one of my current favorite NBA players. Give me KD, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, Mr. Lean himself.
And I do have to mention, as a dog fan, I always try to throw in a little Georgia ties. Yeah, we had a middle linebacker who wasn't but about 5'8" back in the day, named Rennie Curran. Had arms the size of pumpkins, and dude was a tackling machine. Number 35 used to run all over the field. And then
did he go to Chicago, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I think he played middle linebacker for Chicago for a couple of years. And then one of the greatest UGA memories of all time involves number 35, the hobnail boot. Brother, when David Green faked the handoff and then floated that ball up over the middle, that thing hung in the air forever. Ron Haynes was wide open wearing that number 35 in the middle of the end zone. Larry Munson went on to give one of the greatest calls of all time with a hobnail boot.
We just kicked them in the face with a hobnail boot.
So that 35 definitely deserves an honorable mention as a Georgia fan.
I always like to go back to my glory days of the 80s and 90s and whatnot. So I'm going to go back to the Nigerian Nightmare, Mr. Christian Okoye. I love the speed guys, but back then I loved the guys that would just bull you over. And he was one of the first, outside of Herschel and Bo, of course, but he was one of the ones that would just eliminate you if you tried to get in front of him. Had speed, built like a Greek god, but would absolutely run you over. And he wore those little neck pad that made him look even bigger than he was, which he was ginormous. So Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye. Honorable mention, Neil Anderson for the Bears.
Chicago Bears, yeah.
I don't know why he pops in my head, but he does. I think was he backing up Walter maybe?
I think he came in right behind Peyton. He was a little after that. He was there in the late 80s, early 90s. That's a good one. Man, you mentioned Christian Okoye. That dude had a 2 or 3 year run, like you said, where he was just a dominant running back in the NFL. And wasn't a lot of like flash or sizzle to that dude. He just lowered his shoulder and ran as fast as he could. It makes you wonder, like, what happened? Like because he completely disappeared after 2 or 3 big years. And it's not like his running style. I don't remember any injuries. It's not like his running style or he had anything like unique. He should have been able to go for a while, you would think.
Had to be injuries. I don't know any other reason why. He was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry because back then running backs weren't that tall and big, and he was one of the ones that stood out. I wonder how tall he was. In my mind, he was like 6'3", but I'm guessing he's probably 5'11". But in my head, he was 6'3". All right, let's look that up while we're
in your head. Aren't you 6'3"?
In my head, I am 6'3". You're right. And everybody knows I'm only 6'2.5". So
when you're wearing your heels.
Christian Okoye height. This is great radio right here. Looking up 6'1", so that is tall for a running back, especially back in those days. Before we get started, I got to give a huge birthday shout out to Jake Ray, Jake's Pool Service. I need to send some of these to Greg, not only because he keeps giving me his swag, not only because he's been in business for 13 years at Jake's Pool Service. He had a post the other day where he went out on his own, but it's my man's birthday today. Happy birthday, Jake. Best neighbor in the world. Phenomenal barbecuer, apparently a good pool cleaner, but my man's going to take over the barbecuing world. He's got a new podcast hopefully coming, Jake's in the Backyard Barbecue, something along those lines. I hope I can get a guest spot. But Jake Ray's turning, I don't know what he's turning, probably 48, 49. He's around our age. But it is his birthday, a big supporter of the show, Mr. Jake Ray. Give it up for Jake.
You saved the best for last. He's a supporter of the show.
Sorry.
Happy birthday, Jake. He is one of our regular listeners. He engages with us pretty routinely on social media, and I will say, and maybe I was having some of those delusions of grandeur, but when I saw his post releasing his podcast, I couldn't help but think maybe we influenced that a little bit.
He 100% says it. He does not deny the fact. I think he's going to do like a podcast / YouTube video thing.
I can only imagine him. I can imagine him sitting there listening to us one day and going, if these two idiots can put some shit out there a few times a week, surely I can do it.
I think that's it. But I keep saying, I'm like, I don't know what's going to come out, and I hope it's not, because he cannot be as nice a guy as he is. Phenomenally nice guy to all the kids. He always thinks of all his neighbors. A great dude, was imperative in getting me the Masters coffee mug that I love, but would do it if I said, "Hey, Jake, you think you can help me out do this?" "Oh, yeah, absolutely." Just a phenomenal guy. So happy birthday to Jake. Very glad he is my neighbor in this situation. I love it. Proud of him. And thank you for the support of the show.
He sounds like the very kind of guy that even just as being your neighbor kind of makes me feel bad about myself, because I'm not near that good of a friend or neighbor when it comes to helping people out. I kind of keep myself. I stay in my own lane. I don't go out of my way to overly socialize or volunteer my services. So Jake, God bless you, my man. The world needs more like you. Happy birthday.
He's a great guy. He rarely does he smoke anything that he don't bring a sample over to me, which I love, and ended up giving me, I can't remember who made it, but it was called Dirty Bird. It's a seasoning that he put on his turkey, and I was like, "Man, that's good." And then he ended up giving me one of the bottles of it. I can't even speak. And man, let me tell you, I need to find out who makes it, but that stuff is absolutely delicious on chicken. Phenomenal. My wife, who hates chicken,
I
eats it with that seasoning. It's great.
I got a pitch. Let's do a co-mingling, great common sense superheroes and Jake's backyard barbecue. We do a co-host a show in his backyard by the pool and let him cook for us.
Listen, that would be fantastic. You would love it. My man's got about 3 or 4 smokers. He just keeps getting smokers. I think he named them after, like, I think it was Johnny Cash, maybe. I can't remember who it is, but he's got quite the smoker selection. Dude he's just a great guy.
I had to name my smokers Willie and Snoop and things of that nature.
Mine's Grilly Wonka. It was Meat Cave, but I went with Grilly Wonka. So that's the Traeger. I'm a cheap smoker. I'm one of those that like, pellet grill ain't real smoking. I don't care. I ain't got time to tend to it. I ain't that smart. It's too much work. But I could blow smoke up Jake's butt a whole episode, but I will not. But he is a great dude. Greg, school's out for summer. Do you remember the excitement of being out for summer? Like, that was just the best.
I do. I think, God, man, you and I touch on it a lot. Our nostalgia just shines through. But man, you remember we used to have like a full 3 months off too. We didn't go back till damn near Labor Day. It really felt like, I mean, I hate to use the word, it felt like a jailbreak when you got out of there that last day, because you knew you weren't going to have to see that place for a while. Now school is, hell, it's almost all year round, and it's so like intrusive, and there's so much stuff going on. You never get away from the schools. Like my girls all summer, they have, like, hell, Bailey's graduating on Friday, and I still feel like she's got stuff to do over the summer, like affiliated with the school. It's just, it's like travel, baseball, school, all this stuff. It has just become all consuming, and it getting harder and harder to compartmentalize and segment your life. And I tell my girls all the time, I wish they had the old 3-month long summers, just so we could do more trips and have more time to really relax and wind down. Cause I mean, these shorter summers now, and then by the time you throw in all the summer reading and summer work, they don't really get much of a break, to be honest with you.
It's because of all the damn weeks off in between. There's winter break, fall break, summer break, spring break, Halloween break, Thanksgiving break. I mean, my God, every time you turn around, they got a week off. Are these half days? Can we cut this half day shit off? Okay, nobody wants to get up, get this kid ready for school, and then turn around and come pick them up right after they get there. Let's cut out the half days. Take 2 half days, make it 1 whole day. How about that? Just take a whole day off. But a half day is more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't do any favors logistically for working parents and things of that nature.
And I am excited for the summer for the boys, because obviously it's, it's good for them to be out and go play and do all that stuff. And it's not having to worry about snacks and what they're going to wear the whole week or anything like that, and you gotta be 2:30, they're getting off the bus, then you gotta go pick up the other one, the whole getting them there, picking them up, taking them, all that, so that stress is gone, so I appreciate that, but get back with me in about a week and a half to 2 weeks of them being home every day, all day. I'm gonna be wishing school was year round.
Well, I was gonna ask, especially in your situation, because you've got a bit of a unique work schedule. I would imagine having them home all day
Oh,
is about the time you're getting off from work, by the time they start. I don't know
yep,
how well that works for you. I
it's
don't know when
going
you get a chance to
it
sleep.
is rough, my friend. It has been a rough since they've been born, the rough schedule to be on, hence why I look like I'm 67 instead of 47, but man,
But
there's
let's be
times
real,
where
David.
it's
From the day you were born in Thomaston, Georgia, man, you were never meant to have an easy life.
I was
It was
not
always going to be something.
truer things have never been spoken than what you just said, Gregory. That is 1000% correct. And you don't be born in my situation and be like, that kid's gonna make it. Eh, it's it was bound to be rough. Hence why God made me turn gray so early. He's like, I know it's coming, so you might as well just go ahead and get all gray headed. But there is times where my work schedule pays off where I'm able to go to all the boys' sports and help coach in some of them. And in the summer, sometimes when we'll go down to the pool, hang out, or go fishing or whatnot, it's nice. It will get tiresome, and I'll be ready for the routine again of getting them up, getting them to school, and things like that. Which my wife does that, but picking them up, routine is a good thing. But it also is a good thing to get out of routine sometimes and just let them enjoy their childhood because soon enough they will be working unless we get this AI takes over and we just get a universal paycheck, but soon enough, they'll be hopefully in the working world and doing their normal thing. So let them enjoy their childhood. I hope they have a good summer.
Well, and if I may, my friend, and I don't get many opportunities to give out parenting advice because I'm not very good at it myself. But I'll tell you, brother, you're only a few years behind me in this venture, and I'm just telling you, enjoy these stages, enjoy the next couple of years because it won't be long before you blink in and one of them's walking across the stage for the last time. I get to watch that tomorrow evening, and it is an absolute mixture and weird combination of emotions. So I'm gonna tell you, brother, while they're still yours are still kids in a lot of ways. I got one that's damn near a full grown adult, and one that ain't far behind with her maturity. Enjoy them still being boys. Enjoy getting out and playing. Enjoy them being home and around you for the summer because that's something you will miss that one day, and it will come sooner than you realize.
Oh, I know. It's like even to this point, I'm like, how did we get to this? And we talked earlier about how time gets away from us, and COVID didn't do us any favors in it because my gosh, seems like 3 or 4 years of COVID, and you just like blinked and it was there. You're like, what happened during those years? So that didn't help situations any, but I've seen it just in this small test sample that I've got, how quick it actually goes, man, and it's crazy. I'll have a seventh grader, a sixth grader, and a fourth grader next year, and that's two in middle school is mind boggling to me. But
Well,
it,
I'm gonna have two freshmen next year, and I'm not sure that the youngest one didn't recently cause a bigger heartache. I swear, and you know my story with the divorce. I don't see my girls as much as I would like, but I still try to see them at least every couple of weeks, every week to 10 days. Go take them to lunch or dinner or something. And man, Maddie got out of the car the other day, and I swear it's like she grew 4 inches in a week and a half. And next thing I know, like when she first got out of the car, I thought Bailey was shrinking because I'm used to her standing next to her sister, and Bailey had a good 6, 7 inches on her.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, it's like close, like they're darn near the same height. All of a sudden, I'm going, damn, even my youngest one, my baby girl is growing up, and yeah, she starts her freshman year of high school next year. So we're in for some fun times.
man, I'll tell you, girls, they will grow quick because we went to fifth grade graduation of my middle boy Barrett, and man, he got up and walked across the stage, and they called a couple girls after the fact, and they dwarfed him. They made him look bad. Barrett's not my tallest one of the group. He's probably going to end up my height, maybe hopefully a little taller, but the other two are sprouted up. I think Lawton's in the 97th percentile. So he's up there. He's going to be 6 foot plus, and I'm thinking my younger one too. But hopefully Barrett will kick a growth spurt. But boy, the girls in that class were huge. I was like, man, they're damn near big as me.
I don't know what they're feeding them these days, but yeah, so something's going on for sure.
Girls mature quite quicker than boys, and some say always do because I'm still a little immature. But it beats the alternative. I don't want to be too stuffy. But Let's get into politics, Greg. We hadn't done politics in a while, so we might as well get into it. We could go on the Braves and how they're still rolling. Dominic Smith, another Smith making things happen. But I feel like we got to go politics because it's been the talk of the town here recently. We got a governor's runoff in the state of Georgia. You got Burt Jones and you got Rick Jackson. I voted the other day. So I voted for Mark Turner. He's in a runoff as well. That was one of the kids on my team, his grandfather. But Burt Jones and Rick Jackson is in a runoff against, did you see who the Democrats have to be running for governor of Georgia?
Why are you surprised by this?
What on earth? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And this ain't necessarily a woman thing, and it ain't because she's a black thing. It's a because of what in the world have you done to deserve it thing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Keisha Lance Bottoms has gotten the nominee for the Democrats for the governor of the state of Georgia. Lord, help us if that happens.
It is, and it's the cleanest and best analogy I can come up with. I mean, it's how many times do they have to touch a hot stove before realizing it's a hot stove? Like, they're slow learners, man. Like, I will say, Sister Keisha might be a slightly more attractive version than Stacey Abrams, but this is not going to work. She is literally, she's just like her campaign slogan ought to be, "I hate Trump." Because that's all she's got to offer is she's not Trump. She hates Trump. She's going to go against anything and everything the conservatives try to do. Look, I'll say this. I struggled in the primaries because, truth be told, I don't know really whether I like Rick Jackson or Burt Jones. I don't. Burt Jones is a UGA guy, so I give him credit for that, but he's also a career politician, and that's hard to trust. Rick Jackson, the commercials are great, but who really knows what this cat stands for? But I know one thing. If you put Rick Jackson or Burt Jones on the ticket opposite of Keisha Lance Bottoms, I will have zero problem deciding who to vote for in November.
Running Atlanta did not do her any favors. I don't know what you saw at Atlanta and said, you know what, that's ran well. Why not she just handle the whole state? It's just ridiculous. I don't know enough about Burt Jones and Rick Jackson to know details in and out. There's a few things I like and don't like about Burt Jones. Obviously a Georgia player. That's nice. But he was, here I go being a Trump hater or whatever. When all this stuff happened in 2020, he was wanting them to just basically overturn the elections in the state of Georgia and just call it for Trump. I mean, he was pushing for that. And I'm like, you just can't do that. You can't just because you think something, you got to have proof. And there may be proof, but they didn't show it enough to where it could be overturned. But I didn't like the pulling of that. I did like Brad Raffensperger. He refused to go find the 12,000 votes or whatever. And I don't want to say refuse, but that even gets conflated because I think Trump was just saying, hey, we need to find enough votes to do it. I don't think he was saying go make votes or find vote, like overturn votes or anything like that.
I think once again, and I know you hate to hear me say it because, man, I just sound more and more like I'm swallowing that red pill every day. But I just think he knew things before anybody else. I think he legitimately knew that something fishy went on in Georgia. I think he legitimately knew that he won the state of Georgia. Look, I was not an election denier. I was one of the ones that, man, it was fishy, it was sketchy, but hey, it is what it is. Let's just try to get through the next 4 years and move on.
That's my point.
But since that time, more and more has come out. If you ask me now, do I think that the 2020 election was fair or rigged? I 100% think it was rigged. I 100% believe at this time that there's no way Joe Biden got that many votes and beat Donald Trump. I do not believe it at this point because so much has come out in Arizona and in Georgia and some of those swing states. I don't believe it anymore.
You don't think that Joe Biden would get more votes than Barack Obama? Clearly, Joe Biden was the most popular president on the planet there's ever been. He beat every president when it comes to votes. Come on, Greg, give Joe Biden his due. That's clearly he's a super popular guy. There is some fishiness going. There was some fishiness.
They hid that old corpse in his basement for months, and then he apparently got 10 million more votes than anybody ever has or ever will.
Well, that's maybe why, because he wasn't able to answer anything. He didn't go out and make a fool of himself. And like I said before, Kamala Harris, she talks about she only had 107 days or whatnot. You better be thankful. If you'd only had 50 days, you might have won. The fact that you had 100 days to go out there and make an absolute fool of yourself and get in this word salad that you always do, that's part of your problem. You wanted to refuse to answer questions, and when you did, your answer made zero sense. Nothing about it made sense, or either you denied or refused to answer anything. Trump, give him, as much as I just bashed him, I'll get on his side. You may not like the answers he says, but he does answer your questions. Every time you turn around, he's doing an interview or, sitting there and taking questions, whether he's getting on the military helicopter or not. He asks the question, he answers the questions, and he doesn't like hand pick it and look at it and write and point. So you may not like it, but the man does answer your questions.
Well, and to circle back to what we were talking about, and I think this is something honestly that, and let's be real, I don't hide from how conservative I am. I'm pretty far to the right, but I think we all struggle a little bit. And you talked about how you liked the way Raffensperger handled the questions surrounding the election, and didn't like
Not
the way
the
Burt
stuff
Jones
after,
came
just
out.
so we're clear.
But now you're looking at it going, but son of a bitch, our side has notoriously taken the high road, taken the Raffensperger approach.
Right.
Just go, let's just figure it out later. Let's just keep moving. We'll get. And at some point, and again, I don't know him. I am not in any way validating for him or advocating for Burt Jones. But I like the fact that at some point goes, no, this doesn't feel right. I want to figure out what the hell's going on, because we need more of that instead of people who are just putting their head in the sand just to go along to get along. So, I mean, and again, it's what has made, to me, it's what's made Donald Trump the most popular and possibly the greatest president, definitely of my lifetime. He's top 3 or 4 all time already, because he's simply done common sense things. And he has simply said, hey, if this doesn't make sense, we're not just going to keep going down this path because it's what's been done before. And, look, you and I've talked about, I don't always care for his presentation, and he irks me at times with the way he puts himself out there from an image standpoint. But I love the fact that I think that guy legitimately wakes up every day trying to do what he thinks is best for this country, best for the citizens. And I think, as weird as it is, I think he is operating in a greater sense of truth and reality than any other politician out there right now.
Let me go ahead and get my negatives out of the way, because now I want to stand up for Trump. I came into this thinking, all right, I'm going to tell them, because I feel like I can criticize the people I vote for more than I can the people I don't vote for. I didn't, which I did criticize Biden somewhat, but I expected it. Hence why I didn't vote for him. I expected more from Trump, so I feel like I can have some criticism. Doesn't mean I'm going to hate on the guy, but let me go ahead and get the negative out of the way, because I do want to come back and throw some positives. The ballroom told me it was going to be donations. All right, cool, great, love it, fantastic. Do what you got to do, tear it down, make a ballroom. Think we should have a ballroom. All of a sudden turns into, now we need to approve $1 billion for a ballroom. Come on, bro. You said it was donations. I'm all for it. Don't tell me it's donations and then be like, oh, well, now we need $1 billion because of the shooting that took place at the White House press secretary, whatever dinner, correspondence dinner. Yeah, I do think we need a ballroom, but if you got 300 million, you should be able to make that. You didn't lead with that. You said it's all donations. Find more donations. Don't come to us for $1 billion.
Okay. Can I make a counterpoint?
Counter.
Situations evolve and change over time. What if this is the scenario? What if he was just going to build a ballroom and had it covered, had it the donations and had everything covered, and then as shit has unfolded, and the guy's had 3 assassination attempts here pretty recently. What if it wasn't even necessarily his idea? What if somebody from the DOJ or from his cabinet came and said, hey, since we're already tearing all this shit up, this would be the best time to do something we probably should have done a long time ago and really upgrade the facilities and make this into something that can be used for military security and things of that nature if we need it.
Then you looked that guy in the face and said, hey, dummy, don't you realize we're in the middle of a war right now? Don't you realize our poll numbers are in the shitter? We're looking horrible at this point. I get you want to take advantage of the fact that we just had another assassination attempt, but you don't go ask for $1 billion when the gas prices are out of this world right now, and we got things going on like that. This is not the time to go ask for $1 billion for a ballroom. I get where you're coming from, but the normal person's like, I ain't never gonna see that ballroom. I ain't never been in a ballroom. I'm not gonna do a ballroom. Don't come to me for ballroom right now.
Okay, so politically, I agree with you. The timing of it sucks, and it's a horrible ask in that sense. But what if what I'm trying to tell you is I don't think Donald Trump, and this sounds weird, I don't think he operates as politically as we think he does. I think he operates very pragmatically and
Yeah.
like in a realistic and go, hey, we're already tearing this shit up. I'm just saying logistically, this is the best time to do it. And let's be real, we do need to upgrade the White House. The White House is a dilapidated old building that is not very secure. And again, the timing of it is difficult from a political standpoint because of the war and because of the midterms, and you don't want to be doing this. And I get it. It sounds like you can certainly frame it as he's going against his word. He said that it was going to be completely covered by donations. But what I'm telling you is, and we have to realize in our society, two things can be true at once. When he said that, that may have very well been the truth and been the plan, but things have changed. And I'm just saying, it's so easy to point and say it's him doing it. I'm telling you, I bet you there's people in his ear saying, hey, we need to do this. And now's the best time to do it because of the renovations you're already doing. He's a construction guy. He knows a little bit about, like you say, if something needs to be done, you do it while you're in the process of ripping everything down to the guts anyway.
However, I know
You just don't like it.
I know
you're just scared it's going to impact the election. That's all it is.
Yes, that does hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I do think about the midterms, and that does make me think not as well as I want. But if you come back and be like, hey, look, it's a little over budget. It's not what we wanted. In order to get it right, we need about 500 million. Okay, so we need another 200 million. $1.7 billion more you need? I mean, come on. Not only just 300 million, you need $1.3 billion to build this thing. You can make the Mercedes-Benz Dome was a little over under 2, wasn't it? My God, how big is this ball? The ballroom is not that bad. And a little bit maybe, Greg, that I think I'm worried he's going to put so much damn gold in this damn thing. It's going to look so gaudy and so Middle Eastern, like the Prince of Arab or whatever. I worry about that, but you can't go ask for $1 billion. You'd have been better off you came and asked for 500 million. $1 billion, that number jumps out. It was stupid. Just like you put something, you don't put it at $1. You put it at 99 cents because visually, like, oh, well, it's less than $1. You can't go ask for $1 billion. That's ridiculous.
Every point you have made has solely been based on the image of it and nothing else. And look, maybe I'm a little desensitized to it because, like, on one hand, can I even like imagine having $1 billion? No. But on the other hand, with the $40 trillion in debt and the budgets that get approved and all the shit we're slinging money, $1 billion on something like this, it's a drop in the bucket, man. It is nothing. And I can take this both politically and personally. And I can tell you some of the folks in my inner circle can attest to this on the personal level because I've become even more of an abrasive asshole than before. I don't care about image and visualizations anymore. I'm doing what I believe to be right. I'm doing what I believe to be the best course of action. And call me naive or whatever you want to. Maybe I'm just a Trump homer. I, honest to God, think that's what the president does every day. I think he just gets up and tries to make the best decisions he can logistically and pragmatically for the greater good. And I don't think he cares what people think so much right now. Even you.
While I'm going off, $1 billion for a ballroom that you're coming to ask for right after you've sued the IRS with cause. Listen, they leaked your tax forms. That's not right. They shouldn't have done it. That was clearly a way to try to possibly persuade the vote. And
how much money did we send to Ukraine, David?
A gazillion dollars.
Do we even know where any of it is?
No, we do not.
Okay, at least this is something being built on our own property that we have some element of ability to use.
But the $1.8 billion that he put towards the slush, they call it slush fund, but it's basically for people who are like the left is trying to make it sound like he's doing it all for the people of January 6th that got arrested or whatnot, that he's giving them paychecks basically, which is not the case. I'm not anti that because a lot of people during January 6th did get arrested for basically just trespassing, and yet they got thrown in jail for multiple years, put in solitary confinement, treated as if they were the worst criminals above criminals, allegedly killed cops which that is not the case fully.
You still have professionals on the left who are still trying to perpetrate that
Push
image.
that narrative.
And it's not like we all saw it. We saw it live. I saw it live and go, man, this is a terrible look.
Terrible.
It was awful. I was never supportive of what was going down. But after the 2020 BLM, to tell me that that was the worst day in history since Pearl Harbor or 9/11, no, sir, it was not. That's not factual. That's not accurate. I'm not hearing it. And the fact that you still, in congressional meetings, which should be the highest level of seriousness we can effing get in this country, you still got people pushing that false flag narrative of the January 6th riot, trying to overthrow the democracy. And at some point, and you and I've talked about it, and maybe it's just me getting old and jaded, but the moment somebody lets something like that come across their lips, I no longer have any interest in listening to anything else they say.
It was a mob mentality. They took over. It is a horrible situation. It was done wrong. Anybody that actually did physically abuse a cop should not even sniff this money. You should not even be able to do anything with it if you were out there beating on a cop. But that was not the majority, and they would have you believe that the majority was out there beating on cops and doing all this and that. A lot of them, the cops backed up at some point and let them walk in and was basically just shaking hands with them. We've seen that on video. You don't see that video on CNN or whatnot, but that is the case. They just kind of let them go, and there was some bad people in that group, clearly. Anybody that wants to come and try to do harm to somebody.
Most of the bad people were FBI agents inciting the other people to do what they did.
There was a little Antifa going on in that scenario. But there's literally folks who just touched the building or maybe broke a window that got sentenced to 25 plus years, which is unreal and stupid and flat out dumb. So there was some arresting that took place that was overinflated for the crimes that they did. So I think there should be an issue with that as far as people's livelihoods got screwed up. There's been a couple people who ended up committing suicide because they felt like they were lost. What? What for? Okay, here, let's watch him walk by in his underwear. Look at get out of here. Get out. Stay in there, close the door. This is the negative of having kids home. I forgot where I was. But anyways, they were treated unfairly to the ones that did basically go to a rally. They didn't go with the intention of breaking into the Capitol building and just going buck wild, but that just happened. You're just like, oh crap, everybody's going in. Let's just go in. You shouldn't get 25 years for that.
No, and it's one of those things, and often, I try to put myself in those situations, and in an honest moment, David, I believe had I been on the premises on January 6th, I think my spidey senses would have kicked in. I think I'd have had enough common sense when it started getting a little bit rowdy. I go, you know what, this ain't my jam. I think I'm gonna get on out of here. But I also know that there is a chance that if I'm just roaming around out there and all of a sudden people are making their way into the Capitol building and roaming around and taking pictures, there's a chance I might have followed the crowd in there. I wouldn't have broken anything. I wouldn't have damaged anything. I have respect for what that place is. But there is a chance, it is not a 0% chance that I would have been in that building had I been on site. And that's to think that I could have been wrapped up in all that. That's, like you said, it's a farce. It's nonsensical in the greatest sense of the word.
Now they're making it look as if Trump is going out and basically saving the day. He already, pardoned a lot of them, or most of them, if not all of them. But he's, people who beat on cops, he's giving them an okay. He's giving them that they can do that in the right situation, and he's giving them money for beating on cops. Well, these same people that are complaining, I get it. I understand where you're coming from because it doesn't sit right with me, to be honest. I don't like this kind of money being thrown towards somebody like that. But you do have to qualify for it. It's not just open giving money. But I also wasn't cool with, was it Kamala Harris and some of the others that said they would pay to get people out of jail who were rioting during the BLM riots and causing beating on cops and things like that. You were okay with that, but you not okay with this? It's just unfair the way they're treating it.
Well, you mentioned we were talking about the governor election here in Georgia. What about the $2 billion that Biden gave old Stacey a few years ago for the climate control? And I think the receipts indicate that they may have bought like 11 or 12 washer and dryers with that $2 billion. And I don't know where the rest of it went, but I'm about to have to get a new washer and dryer, and I don't think I would have any problem getting more than 11 or 12 for $2 billion.
Yeah, I think you'd be okay. I've just recently bought a dryer because ours went out, but it's nowhere near the amount that you need for $1 billion. That's for damn sure. So I do have issue with this fund, but in the same side of my mouth, I'm talking, I'm like, but they were treated unfairly. It was, we're treating it as if it's Pearl Harbor, and it was not a horrible situation. It looks bad. I get it. One person was killed, and nobody seems to bring up the fact that they were killed without a weapon. They just were trying to cross a barrier and ended up getting shot. Hey, well, don't worry about it. But if you try to run a car into a cop and get shot, then of course it's a huge deal. But I don't like that. I don't like that he somehow was able to exempt himself from any IRS audit ever, him or his family. Did you see that?
And I didn't see that one.
But I guess because of this lawsuit that he was going about, which he was suing the IRS, correct? I guess he somehow got away that he is not able to be audited by the IRS or anybody in his family ever, either past or future. I don't like that. If it was the other way around, I'd be a little upset with that. Hence why I was upset when Joe Biden put a pardon for Fauci and members of his family for past and future things that take place. That was a bad look too. So if I don't like that,
Yeah, I don't know what the injunction with Trump against the IRS. I knew he was suing them, but I don't know how you can just say that you can't be audited. I'm not sure how that's legal.
I don't
That'll
either.
probably have
That's
to
what I don't get.
that'll flush itself out. But yeah, I mean, all of the examples you talked about, and then there's countless examples on the other side going in the other direction, and it just it goes back to what we've talked about as kind of an underlying theme of this whole show. When you try to throw around monetary figures these days, you just realize it's all just fictional. Like none of it's real. Like it's numbers on the screens, it's ones and zeros, and none of this economy is real anymore. And pardon it, like Biden pardoning his whole family, pardoning Fauci for like all that shit. Like it's a crock. It's why it's so hard for guys like you and I who have to deal with the real repercussions of our choices. Look at those people and go, it's not real. They're not serious players. They are just, it's political theater for all these people. And everything they're doing is just trying to figure out how to angle this way or that, like in the debates and in the legal stuff. None of it's pragmatic and real anymore. And that's I think we're going farther and farther down a bad path that I don't know how we put the genie back in the bottle and fix this stuff, because it just seems to get worse and worse by the day with the amount of fraud and the amount of just anti common sense things that we're all forced to swallow it like it doesn't bother us.
Doge was a big. Sorry, got kids walking.
He's trying to get famous.
He is trying to get famous. Fraud, like you said, those numbers be thrown around as far as the million here, 2 billion here, 100 million here, 100 million there. When it's fraud, it's a big deal, and it is. But when they tried to do something about it with Doge, we were quick to be like, oh, that's, on the other side, they were like wanting to shut it down. And if you're quick to want to shut down fraud or shut down the investigation into fraud, kind of tells me you might have your hand in the cookie jar. You might be part of the problem. It's concerning that people are so quick to want to overlook the fraud part in different areas, but in something like this, with this money, like which by the way, he did do it 1.776 billion. So it's 1776. You got to give him credit for that. Just wear shoes. Sorry, he's looking for slides. God forbid we wear shoes these days. It's all slides and Crocs. But anyways, he made it 1.776 billion, which is, he did it for 1776. I give him props there. But I just don't like the looks of it. I understand it's better than him pocketing the money, which I guess he sued the IRS for. And it does help out those, and it not necessarily just for Republicans. Anybody can try to put in to get this amount of money who were falsely, uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, I
Sentenced,
think
falsely sentenced with some, over sentenced in a lot of ways.
I think the best way to sum this up, and as I've tried to process what you're bringing to the table here, it you remember the old phrase, David, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." Everything you're complaining about is just a product of the system. And look, yeah, there are things he does, but there are things he has to do that I don't agree with. I don't wish they were the case, but I'm a we have gotten away from as a society realizing that it's okay to win. Like, especially on our side of the aisle, we are better on the right as losers. Like, because it's easy to point to the other side and how they cheat and how they do all the screwy shit. And we don't like it. We don't want to do that, so that's why we lose. Donald Trump just doesn't play those games. He's just going to look at it and go, "They're going to do all that stuff, so I'm going to do it too, so we can win." And look, as a Christian, as a man who tries to live his life by a profound level of faith and ethics and integrity, I don't agree with that as the godly way to go through life. But I do believe if we view politics or we view society or we view this as what it is, which life is a competition. There's a lot of cases where it's me or you that's eating tonight. It ain't gonna be both of us. And I think if he's embracing that sort of approach, and if it's either going to be the right or the left, if it's either going to be us or them that's in charge, if it's either going to be us or them making decisions, Lord, let it be us because it's better for everybody if it's us than them.
Man, look, you're not wrong. And
I know.
as much as I want to, I don't know how Haley puts up with you, but as much as I want to, like I said, I don't like to criticize my side, but I feel like it's my job as that's who I voted for. So if I have something to criticize, I'll criticize. But as I've said before several times, most of these actions are reciprocal, meaning that it was done to him first. They done to us first. This whole gerrymandering was a big deal. It was not a big deal when it works in their favor, but when it starts to work in our favor, all of a sudden it's a huge deal and should be illegal. Y'all came after him. Y'all falsely gave money to whomever, whenever. The whole BLM thing back when the uh, riots and protests was going on, everybody was supposed to be inside. We wasn't supposed to be in the streets. But if you're protesting George Floyd, then it's okay to be in the streets. You ain't got to worry about it. That is just ridiculous. Nobody criticized them for going out and protesting. And I think protest is a great thing. I'm not anti-protest. Once it reaches the point of violence, that's a bad thing. But if we're locked down because of coronavirus and nobody can go out, then you're like, well, it's okay because it's for a civil right. How about going to see my grandma who's dying? That's my right. I can't go see my grandma who's passing away because she's in a hospital or whatever. As she's dying, I can't see her. But if I wanted to go protest and throw rocks at a building that's in my own neighborhood, I could do that because it's for my own right. Meanwhile, all these people died without even seeing their kinfolks the last time. So the hypocrisy is unreal. As you said, they do a lot of the same stuff, if not worse. And they do it first, we do it back. And they're like, oh, how dare they? You did it first. How much money has gone to frivolous, stupid things and to protect others? As I said earlier, there were people paying to get people out of jail who protested and threw rocks and beat on police and stuff like that. That's what we're going to do. It's okay. But this guy does a lot better job of it. He gets $1.8 billion because he was wrongfully, tax returns were wrongfully put out there. Imagine if the IRS, a government, came out and did something illegally against you. I'd be a little pissed too. And it's a lot of money. I get it. But he also is worth a lot of money. So the more money you got, the bigger the repercussions that take place against somebody who tries to come against you. And I don't care what you say, the IRS, which he should have released his tax forms, but them going out and doing that was, and to me, a way of persuading the vote and trying to get them to hinder the election. So,
Well, I mean, it absolutely.
I don't even know where I was going with that, but it just
and let's be real, they very much impacted the 2020 election with all that shit. I mean that's I don't even think that's up for debate anymore. No, I mean, look, it's you don't like to have to look at life as a zero sum game. As go, hey, there's 10 of them out there, and if I want 10, that means you get 0. Like you don't want to have to view life that way, but unfortunately, that is the reality we deal with
on that side. Yeah,
you know, I'll share. Honestly, I think it's one of the greatest struggles I know for me personally is to try to find that balancing point of living in faith and living the way Christ calls us to live, but still operating within the reality and the systems we have to operate. Because and again, I'm in no way comparing myself or Donald Trump to Jesus Christ, but let's be real, 2,000 years ago, a perfect human being was killed by politicians because they didn't like what he was saying. It the following the crowd, following those people is never going to lead you to making the right decisions. And I'm just trying to say, I think right now we have a president and we have some leadership who is trying to take back control and simply go about put your head down, don't worry about the politics, don't worry as much about the imagery, and just do what's right. And I think the reason the left is panicking so bad is because I think they're starting to see evidence that that whole just put your head down and doing what's right is starting to work for our side. Some of the results are starting to be good. Look, the situation over in the Middle East and the gas prices, it is what it is. But anybody with half a brain cell knows that it's temporary. We can fix that as soon as we get out of Iran. And this was something that needed to be done. Again, you do it now before they get strong enough to defend themselves. That's common sense. There's a lot going on in our nation that needs to be addressed. But I think some of the underlying foundations and things that we're building and some of the things that he's putting into practice, I mean, if we can skate through this midterm and not lose the House and the Senate and maintain control, I think we're going to build some real momentum rolling into 2028. And then I don't know why nobody's talking about it. Maybe nobody thinks we're going to live to this point. But when they redo the census in 2030, if we're in charge and can make it to where and I don't even know if people realize this, illegal aliens count towards the census. Like the reason
Yes.
California has so many electoral college votes is because they count illegal aliens in their census. So when you factor in, if we're not counting those, and then you factor in all the people that have moved from California and from New York to states like Florida and Texas and Tennessee, I think the entire electoral map is going to shuffle in 2030. I think the Democrats, honest to God, I think they are scrambling right now because they are at the end of their rope, realizing if they don't gain some control now, they may not get control for a while. And, you got to be aware that almost everything you see on mainstream media, almost everything you see on social media is tilted that direction. It's slanting from that point of view. And we have to keep our head down, stick to the things we know to be true. Don't get caught up in the narratives. Don't worry about Donald Trump's ballroom, David. There's a lot more important things to worry about right now. We're on a really good path, I think. And I think that is what scares the Democrats more than anything is they know we're on a good path and looking like we might just snatch control here for a pretty good while.
Now, I have been negative on Trump just so to satisfy those people who say we don't ever say nothing. Which is ridiculous because we have said a lot of times we don't like the way he talks about certain things, the way he treats people who's passed away. Never wish death upon nobody, but once they're gone, he will badmouth you because you badmouth him. I don't like it. It's not my thing, but I've been negative towards him. But I now I will go a little positive in some ways. You talked about the census and legal aliens and all that. I recall a time where back in the day we used to be all for it when Clinton was coming out saying, "Hey, we gotta worry about illegal aliens and take care of all that." Obama even said the same thing, and he deported so many people. Hey, I didn't hear a single Republican getting up and going like, "That's a bad thing because Obama likes it. We don't like it." Blah blah blah. Flip the tables. Trump does the same thing, except at a smaller scale, apparently, because Obama was deporting them like crazy, deporter in chief. Trump does the same thing, and of course, it's the most evil thing that anybody on the planet's ever done. Trump derangement syndrome, if you want to call it that, is alive and well. Anything he does, no matter how good it is, gets frowned upon from the left because it's simply him. Same thing with this Trump accounts where he's giving money for these kids that are being born, trying to set them up when they turn 18 to have a little bit of a fun. Trump RX. Mark Cuban, of all people, who hated on Trump, came out big against Trump and probably up until a while ago would still tell you not a big fan. Probably will tell you to your face today, don't really like the guy so much. But he does know that prescription drug prices have gotten outrageous, especially for people on fixed incomes. And it's a requirement in some ways for people to keep on living is to have these prescription medications. Now, does Mark Cuban have a dog in the hunt Yes, but I still think he's out to do the good thing. I kind of like Mark Cuban. He is combined with Donald Trump to do this prescription drug fee to where the prices have gone down drastically with if you get them through this Trump RX, which I don't even know if that's the real name, but that's just what everybody's calling it. Much
It
like
was, yeah.
Obamacare. Much like Obamacare, that's what they call it, even though it's the healthcare, government healthcare. I don't see the negative in this. I don't understand why anybody would be against this lowering drug prices because it's been talked about for years that that's a problem. But The View, Joy Behar, of course, comes out and is anti it, as is Sonny Austin, all because his name's on it. Apparently, they don't care that older people can't afford drugs because they can. They don't give a damn if the prices get lowered because they can afford it. But they would do anything to not make Trump look good, even if it means people dying. That's what they care about, supposedly, is what it seems like. I don't understand the negative on this, Greg.
Well, and so often I think the easiest way to get people to visualize this is to create that sort of binary imagery. And so you're right. The View is anti-Trump's RX thing that makes prescription drugs cheaper, while they wholeheartedly support a Karen Bass mayoral candidate in LA whose answer to the homeless meth head problem is we need to get them cosmetic dental surgery and the taxpayers should cover it because you need teeth to be successful. Yeah,
Yes.
Karen, that's the problem. The reason those crackheads on the street aren't successful is the lack of teeth. It ain't the other poor decisions they made that led to all that. It's a binary world, and more I'm just starting to see that it's our side versus their side. And again, I've got some friends on that side, and I'm trying like hell to pull them over here and get them to see the light and understand the common sense and the reality we're dealing with. But I am also more and more getting to the point where if you tell me 2 + 2 = 5, I'm just going to let you be an idiot and I'm going to go about my day.
You may not like the messenger, but the message might be a good thing. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of preachers who are not the most saintly of people or the godliest people that you want to be, but that don't make their message any less more important. I feel like when they're in the pulpit, they might be delivering the message. But
Heck, I do a daily
any
show with scripture verses and gambling tied to it.
any preacher is still a simple man. He still has flaws, but that don't change the message. Trump's not the greatest. You may not like Trump, but that doesn't mean everything he does is bad. This, I think, is a great thing, trying to make things more affordable. He does a lot of things that doesn't get the spotlight because they're not super controversial, but are changing daily lives on a daily basis. The war thing, I don't like not one bit. I want to get out there. I don't want them to have nuclear weapons, but I don't like it right now. I don't like this war. It is taking way too long. It's messed up the Strait of Hormuz. The gas prices are insane. They're out of it. But as Greg likes to point out, this may be a greater good that happens in the long run if we do completely eliminate their nuclear capabilities. We should need to be getting a little help. Everybody agrees that this is a bad thing that they have the possibility to get nuclear weapons, but nobody else wants to jump on board because why would they if we're going to do it? We're going to get the bad look. Trump, as you've seen, does not care about how he makes him look. I think Greg may be right in the fact that he's just wanting to do the greater good, regardless of the political cost that it may cost him. He can do that. He's 80.
I think I honestly I don't want to give him too much credit for saying he's not playing politics. I just think he honestly has the confidence and the belief in what he's doing to think that and again, if this Iran thing settles down in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and based on what it's hard to put together any sort of information you can trust and believe in, but it sounds like we're just at a waiting game at this point. Like we can literally obliterate them the rest of the way within 2 or 3 days if that's the route we choose to. We're trying to give them a chance to save some of the infrastructure. And again, logistically, I look at the situation as it is and go, I don't know how else you would prefer him to handle it. Like, I don't want him to just start blowing them off the map just because we can. If we think there's still a chance to get out of this without that, certainly don't want boots on the ground to go try to retract the uranium that they have if we think we can get around that. So I understand. And if they're to the point where they don't have the ability to store the oil they're producing and they're going to have to shut down their pumps, which is a catastrophic thing for them that would set them months behind economically, They don't want to get to that point. I think we're just trying to wait until they go, hey, look, they're either going to have to completely cripple their economy and their oil production, or they're going to have to attack us, in which case we'll blow them off the map. They have no cards to play. And so in that case, and again, I know it doesn't make great headlines, but if you're against an opponent that has nothing they can do to you or throw at you, why not just sit and wait it out and let it come to fruition naturally instead of trying to force something that may not work? So I mean, I look at that. I think he's handling it right, but I don't think he's completely unaware of the political game. I think he legitimately believes that he is playing puppet master, and the strings he's pulling are going to put stuff together to the point where if we get through the midterms here, I think the momentum's going to build. I think it'll be a landslide in 2028 if we can stay in power through the midterm. I think what he's doing right now is going to have a massive positive impact on our nation as a whole. We will be unquestionably the world leader moving forward. We just got to get through the next 6 months.
I like the bombing them when they start building something up. Bomb it, keep it moving. Bomb it just like we did last, June or July. And I get it. You may have to go back every 2 years.
That gets made a big deal, and nobody likes that approach. Like, whatever he does, they're not going to like it.
This agreed, but not to this level. I think you got to do that every 2 years because they're just going to build it back. And I get that. But how do you defeat somebody? When we told them that we were going to start bombing these areas, what did they do? They put their women and children out around these buildings. How do you beat somebody who does not care about human life? They don't care whatsoever.
So, okay, and what you said is 100% correct. How do you beat somebody like that? But let me make the counterpoint, David. The answer is not just to let them the fuck alone. The answer isn't to just leave them be and then see what happens. So it's not easy to beat somebody like that, but somebody that's willing to do that sort of thing is the very reason why you do need to beat them. You can't just let them be if that's their mentality. You can't let that sort of evil exist.
I agree. I just knock them down a peg is all I'm saying. Just keep knocking them down. And you're like, well, that's what we've been doing for 100 years. Yeah, but you just doomed politically in this scenario. And I know I keep putting the midterms back out there, but man, it just worries me so much. Like you said, I think he's 100% getting impeached if we lose the House. It's just a given. Without question, he's going to be impeached. And it doesn't matter what it is, they're going to come up with something to impeach him, whether it's right or wrong. Look at last time he got impeached over a phone call. What? I mean, any littlest thing they're going to try to impeach him on, whether it's true or not. Russian collusion's proven false. You won't hear anybody on the left say that was still 100% true. Even though it's been proven wrong, they still will abide by it. They're going to find a way to impeach him. Bomb them every few years, slow them up until we just keep on moving, keep it moving. That's just me, but not saying that's the right approach, but I'm just looking at it from a political standpoint.
That's like, I'll draw a personal analogy. I've told you my oldest daughter, Bailey's really big into playing pickleball. And I don't play much, but I've played with her a handful of times. And this last time she wanted to challenge me. And so I'm out there and farting around. And next thing I know, she's up 8-1. Well, all of a sudden at 8-1, I go, we only play at 11. I got to do some shit. Well, I came back and won that game, but I'm going to tell you, I wished I hadn't let her get that far ahead because I wasn't taking her seriously. You don't play around. Like, we don't know what they have or what they've got capabilities of all the time. And if you just let them sit for every couple of years and then go try to knock them down, one of those times, what happens when you go over there and knock them down and you get hit in the face with a nuke that you didn't know they had? Your approach is logistically sound and it makes sense. I just don't think it's like communism. It doesn't apply to the reality of the situation we're dealing with. I have just seen enough of this world to know that when you can see and identify evil, you just have to take it out. That's the only option, because evil does not become good. It will not transition to good. Evil is evil, and the only way to get rid of evil is to end it permanently.
Just to be honest, I'm a little pissed in the fact that we got Israel, of course. I know that. I mean, that's why we're there. Let's be honest. But all these people, they're not going to make a nuclear weapon that's going to reach America. Will it reach some American bases overseas? Yes, but it's not going to reach America. And I do not want this to happen. But it's going to take for them to attack somebody that they can reach within reach other than Israel, to where everybody's going to be like, oh, well, I guess we got to do something now because we're over there by ourselves just with Israel. where anybody within earshot of a nuclear weapon that they could reach should be fighting it as well. They know that they want to blow you off the planet. They don't want anybody but themselves. So if you're able to be reached via nuclear weapon from the Iran, you should be on our side. You should be helping fight as well. We should be a unit out there, but we're not because they're like, well, Big Brother America and Israel's taking care of it. Why we got to do anything? We look like we're still good, and they're taking care of our business for us. I think it's a shitty look that these countries want to be pussies and not want to go out there and protect their own. Again, they ain't bombing Flowery Branch, Georgia. Okay, they're gonna be bombing your area. They got a while before they can get to reach us. So we ain't over there necessarily for us. We're over there for you as well as our allies. And they're not wanting to step up. It just pisses me off. So that's why I'm like, F it. Just get out of there and let it happen. And then see how quick you come running to Big Brother.
That is also a fair and easily understood sentiment. I get that emotion. That makes 100% sense. I'll share this with you and David. I've shared this little pearl of wisdom with my daughters. I'd suggest you share it with your kids, your boys, if you hadn't yet. There's a lot of times in life that when you're doing the right thing, you'll find yourself doing it alone. This is one of those times, David. And I'm not trying to oversimplify it. I've done my homework. I study this stuff. I pay a lot of attention to what's going on around the world. I legitimately believe that what we're doing, that we're on the right side of this. I don't know that it'll show up in the history books, if the history books lie just like the media does. But I'm telling you, this time frame will go down as a historically significant time frame, and I think it will be historically significant in a very positive way for the United States of America because of the exact way that he's handling things. And I know it irritates people, and I understand. Look, I'm with you. There's part of me that wants to say, hey, just fucking build a wall around this place, close our borders completely. Let's just do it all ourselves. We don't need nobody else. I don't think that's the way Christ calls us to live. We're supposed to be out there spreading the word and spreading the good news and trying to make the entire world around us a better place. And just because you got a few whack jobs here at home that don't want to see it and don't want to admit that's what he's doing, look at it with your own two eyes, look at it for what it is and realize the truth. All he's doing is making America the number one winner in the world again. And I don't have a problem with that.
I enjoy that part of it. I do like that. However, I wish we would start being looked at that way and appreciated for the things that we do and the things that you don't ever hear about because of the actions we've taken. Who knows what catastrophic things could have taken place had we not been to Big Brother and took care of a lot of situations. But Trump, listen, poll numbers on the whole are bad, obviously, especially for this war. We keep getting reminded from that from CNN. In the Republican Party, his numbers aren't great, but he does have some influence. I mean, anybody he seems to want to get behind on the Republican side ends up winning that party nomination. Thomas Massey got out. He's done. It won't be long before he's waving a blue flag. He'll be jumped over on the other side.
I'm gonna tell you too, and this will be a chance for me to come clean and be 100% transparent. I'm a huge fan of Thomas Massey. I like when I have listened to him speak. I've seen him as a guest on podcasts. That dude, I understand the mentality and where Trump's coming from because Thomas does like to grandstand and he likes to use his singular vote as a chance to make a statement rather than to try to get things done. But as far as what Thomas Massey believes, what I think he stands for, and who he is, I think he's a tremendous human being. I think he was a great congressman. But I'm going to tell you this, and again, if you follow what I've been putting down, the fact that Donald Trump was able to go into the state of Kentucky and get Thomas Massey wiped out like he did tells you, despite what you see in the media, despite how you think the rest of the world looks at us right now, the folks here at home are paying attention. They know who's pulling the strings. And if the Donald says, hey, let's get this guy out and put this guy in, the fact that the Kentuckians go, yes, sir, let's go. I think that's a good thing. Again, from a holistic standpoint, as a conservative and as someone who wants to see the Republican Party win every election we possibly can, I think that what that showed was the fact that the right side, the conservative side, the Republican side isn't quite as fractured and anti-Trump as the media is trying to make you believe we are.
I agree. He's still got pull. And let's be honest, Thomas Massey says a lot of things I agree with, and the stuff I've said today, if I was running for office, Trump wouldn't go on my side. He would be like calling me low IQ, David, which is not far off from that, but he would be
But
calling
you
me
look
low
at
IQ because I question some of the things. Questioning is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just it does get used against us from the other side. Anytime you want to question anything, be like, I don't agree with that. They try to jump on it like his own party's against him. In the end
but,
of the
but
day, I'm still
and,
voting mostly Trump in every area, but I just
and
question some things.
we touched on it briefly. The prescription thing, him partnering with Cuban, like that is an example of who he is and what he really cares about. Don't You can't tell me that he's not aware of what Cuban has said about him. He made the little joke about he made a big mistake voting for like.
Mhm.
I'm with you. I think Mark Cuban still doesn't like Donald Trump. I think he will vote for whoever the Democrats put up in 2028. But the fact that Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about any of that, if he can use Mark Cuban to help get something done that, as you said, is for the greater good, regardless of whether anybody wants to see it or not, that is the epitome of who this guy is. And again, they jokingly, the deal maker in chief, he's just trying to get things done, get deals done. And he's willing to go across the aisle and deal with some reject like Mark Cuban, who, again, I was a fan of too until I started hearing his political leanings. The fact that he could put all that aside because he knew Cuba could help pull this off and make this a better product for the American people, that to me is, again, that's a testament to who he is and what really matters to him, despite what they want to try to portray him as. He's simply trying to get something done. And it would have been easy for him to take the prideful route and go, I'm not dealing with that guy. You hear what he said about me? And how many other politicians, especially presidents, would have done? Obama wouldn't have worked with somebody across the aisle. Biden wouldn't have worked with somebody across the aisle. Kamala ain't had an idea of her own, so she ain't got nobody to work with. Look, again, I'm a homer. I'm partial. I'll criticize him when he does something or says something stupid, and he's known to do that. But this is a perfect example of he's willing to go across the aisle. He's willing to work with anybody if he thinks he can get something good done. And
In the
that's the kind of
time
president I want.
in the time, going across the aisle and working with the other side is looked at poorly amongst your own party. Reagan did a good job at it. Bill Clinton did a great job at it. You gotta give him props for that. He was willing to work on both sides and try to come to an agreement on something. So you gotta give him props for that, and maybe Trump, like you said, I give Cuban credit too. I mean, like you said, he does not like Trump clearly, but he's willing to do it because he knows how important it is to get lower drug prices. And is he going to make some money off of it? Sure, I'm sure he will. But once you get to a multi billions, what is another 500 million? No, it's not going to do anything for him. But kudos, man. I think it's great. Anything you can do to help out those struggling right now, regardless of who it is, I'm all for it. So I think it's a
Well,
great thing.
and so when we get into closer to the midterms, and especially when we start rolling into 2028, the simple question for us to ask the other side is, what have any of them done? Give me something. Give me something. A famous leftist Democratic politician. Give me something that one of them has done that's made life better.
It's gonna be a hard question to answer for a lot of them because I
Yep, you're
can't
talking
think
about
of
that
can't think
speed
of many.
train in California that goes about 80 miles for $20 billion.
Speaking of California, Spencer Pratt, I can't even speak. Spencer Pratt, listen, go out and vote. If you're a Californian, go vote for Spencer Pratt. Why? What do you got to lose? What, all of a sudden, is your city gonna be crap? It already is. There's homeless people left and right. I listen to a lot of podcasts based out of California, and they're terrified to even walk to their cars a lot of time. The homeless situation, the drug situation, not to mention the fact that it burnt down basically and nobody even did anything about it. And all they did was add more permits to the fact that you can't even build your house back if you want to. There's some conspiracy theories on the fact that maybe, you much like in Hawaii, all this burnt down, then you can't seem to want to be able to build your house back because of these permits that you need to get. Meanwhile, government's starting to take over a lot of these. Just saying, there's some weird questions going around. So Spencer Pratt, is he the complete answer? No. Is he better than the Karen Bass answer? 100%.
I don't want to incriminate myself, and I would in no way say I was a fan of The Hills back in the day. I will admit there were some good-looking women on that show from what I recall, but if you'd have told me 25 years ago that I would be damn near willing to get out and campaign for Spencer Pratt to run for office,
Yeah.
I'd have told you you were smoking something good because, and again, this is a subject I'm a bit of an expert on. I know something about being an arrogant prick. That dude on that show, and I don't know if they played it up and made him look worse than he is. That dude on that show was the epitome of an arrogant prick. But man, I listen to him now and the campaign stuff he's putting out there, and when he's been able to do some interviews, honest to God, and I'm not trying to sell myself as to anything special. Sounds a lot like a guy like me. Like if I decided to run for something, just go, well, shit, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got to be better than these guys.
And he points out that he don't know everything, but he's willing to hire the right people. I mean, let's be honest. Most of the time, it's about who you hire than who's the head man in charge. Who's making the right decisions and getting the people in place. Nobody's going to be an expert on every field. I never watched The Hills, shockingly. I know that's mind-blowing based on what I do watch. Didn't know anything about them hardly. A little bit about seeing them in clips or whatnot, but I'm here for the guy. Go ahead. All the kids walking by, jeez. I'm here for the guy. I think he can't be worse. Why not? What do we got to lose? Gavin Newsom can be the governor and screw things up. Why can't he be the mayor and just give it a chance?
Can you, and again, I don't think this is likely in any scenario, but one can hope and pray. Can you imagine the level of absolute epic meltdown if California elects a mayor in LA and a of Spencer Pratt and then get Steve Hilton or somebody as governor? Holy cow, dude. If we turn that state red, then we are absolutely in control for a while. But you look at it like, how can they not look at the last 15 or 20 years and realize, hey, maybe it's time to try something different.
It is too big and pretty of a state and too much going on. My God, what is it? Stay 80 in San Diego year round? I mean, that should be a place that's everybody dreams to want to go to. But you got people wanting to move out of California. One of the most beautiful states we have, and people are dying to get out of there and go to middle of Texas where it's 150 degrees and it's horrible weather-wise. They're willing to go there basically because it's ran so crappy in California. Which Texas, be careful, because the more you don't come there with your blue votes, don't come and try to change it. All right, don't come I've heard Nashville's getting a little liberal, getting a little crazy up there. Don't come to a place because you like the way it is and then try to turn it into where you came from. Just be careful.
That does tend to be a pattern that you notice, and you know that, and I think that's why some of the big cities stay blue regardless. But I was going to ask you, have you ever been out to California? It's been a while since I've been out that way, but man, I'm telling you, if you haven't, it's hard to do justice of just how pretty, how blessed that place is from a geographical and topical place. Like, you know, it gets a little chillier up north, but like San Francisco would absolutely be one of my favorite places to visit if it wasn't an absolute hellhole. LA, I mean, for all that LA has to offer, and like you said, people are fleeing there like it's Sodom and Gomorrah these days because it's just you can't function out there. The handful of you know conservative type folks I listen to that still have managed to exist out there, they're all hanging on, and it's almost just out of an element of pride at this point. I'm just going, I just simply refuse to let this state beat me and make me leave. But they'll tell you like it's absolutely a shit show out there.
I haven't been. I do want to go, and I will leave it at this since it's getting a little long. But I will fall down a wormhole to where I get hooked on watching people walking down the streets of San Francisco to those neighborhoods and areas, which seem to be nice neighborhoods and areas where people are just drugged out of their minds, frozen, standing still, like just zoned out with their pants down, pooping all over the place. I get in a wormhole of watching those videos, and I'm like, my gosh, how did DJ Tanner live here? How did the Tanners survive in a place like this?
You know,
full house, full pants is what it is, with poop and drugs and just needles hanging out. It's catastrophe.
I've been known in my younger days to enjoy a cocktail or two and get a little inebriated, and from time to time, probably more so than I should have been. But when you see those people, and I'm just trying to imagine in my mind, what could it possibly feel like to be in that state that makes you want to keep doing it? Because it doesn't look like a whole hell of a lot of fun to literally just be almost frozen, motionless, bent over with the fentanyl lean. But it's got to feel effing amazing because they keep doing it day after day, hour after hour. But I have out of curiosity, it kind of gets me, and this will be a rabbit hole we'll go down one day. Like I've been a drinker in my past. I get people who may smoke weed, do some of that stuff here and there. I get the people that kind of get into the pain pills. Never really been a thing for me. But then there's a whole different level. Like how do you make that first choice of going, you know what, I'm going to do meth. Like I'm going to do heroin today. Like how do you get to that level of going from somebody who maybe likes to sip on a bourbon or smoke a joint to going, nope, I'm getting a needle and I'm shooting up some heroin. Like how does that become a thing you do? But now you see these people, man, I don't know what it is, but it's got to feel good.
Man, Charlie Sheen said crack cocaine. He said, I love it. He said, I love the
It's a hell
crack.
of a drug.
That's it. Episode 35 in the books. A long one. Got a little political. We'll try to go back to some happy-go-lucky sports, brave stuff, but it's hard not to get political at times. Episode 35, Common Sense Superheroes. Greg, leave us with some words of wisdom, my friend.
You definitely need it after this episode. Get in your Bible, say your prayers, love one another, and tell the truth.
Happy birthday, Jake. Jake's pool
God
service.
bless Jake.
Go check it out. Peace.